Hello and welcome. You're watching My 11 Circle presents Cricbuzz Live. Total destruction of Delhi by Hyderabad. It's just happening the last few days. The teams of the lower half of the table are really going for the teams of the top half of the table, and they're getting a better off them. And boy, talking about getting the better off them, Hyderabad has beat Delhi by 88 runs. And 88 runs is actually looking closer than the match really was. If I was to be really fair to Hyderabad, I got Michael Vaughan and Joy Bhattacharjya here with me. Michael, that was just one-way traffic.
Yeah, I mean, Hyderabad produced their A game. They have to. They have to win every game. They play like they did tonight. They'll win the next two games because they were outstanding with the bat, magnificent with the ball. Delhi, they were poor. They were a team that just didn't get anything right. And you go back to the decision at the toss, allowing Hyderabad to bat first. They just didn't get it right with the ball. They offered too many on the plate in the slots. Didn't vary it enough. And with the bat in hand, well, you get Shikhar early, and it was all downhill from there. They tried. Rashid Khan tried to get in some time in the middle to get some kind of form, but they were poor, really, really poor. You could just tell from the face of Ricky Ponting throughout the whole night. From around the fifth over of the first innings, Ricky's face did not change. He knew that his team had not arrived to play the standard of cricket that he would have expected.
So 7 tosses won by Delhi and all 7 matches lost by Delhi. Joy, the next time Delhi wins a toss, they will call a taxi.
No, I was just thinking the last time the Delhi was defeated so badly, the last time was in 1857 after the first war of independence when the British took over. I haven't seen Delhi massacred like that for a very long time.
Jeez, yeah, it really was today. This is almost like an innings defeat, and so I'll tell you what all makes this really bad for them. One, it's 3 in a row now, right? And they have to play against Mumbai and Bangalore next. Place in top 2 seriously in jeopardy. 3, nothing really went right for them. You know, you have some games where you just battle hard, you come really close, you take positives away. I don't think they can take anything away from this. Yeah, Joy?
Absolutely. Even if you look at, Rishabh Pant, he's the highest scorer. And look at that innings, 36 of 35 balls. It's not even that he got going, he looked fluent. He hit 1 6, which was spectacular. And after that, he was struggling. So it's not even, sometimes, in a situation like that, batsmen get off pressure because they're not going to win it. And they play themselves into form.
Yeah.
Even that hasn't happened for them. They haven't a single redeeming point. All their pacers went, their spinners went, their change bowlers went. Really, this is an outing that they'd love to forget and just close it. I mean, I think Ponting's a smart one. He won't dwell on this. He just say, okay, guys, let's move on next match. Because so badly lost, there's no point.
Yeah, what's very interesting with Ricky Ponting, 2 weeks ago on social media, you were getting the clips of his team talks after the games spread virally, how positive and how great it was, handing out the player of the day. His team talks were fantastic to listen to. Have you noticed that the last couple have not been released? Maybe it just goes beep, beep.
Sensitive content. Sensitive content.
For social media. He won't be happy with that display. He expects teams to play with smartness. They didn't use the brains. They didn't, and they just weren't quite with it this evening. So that'll be a worry for him. You mentioned those 2 big games, those 2 teams that he have to play in Bangalore and the Mumbai Indians. He'll be slightly concerned that his team have just lost form at the wrong time.
Yeah, Michael, just a quick word on Rishabh Pant. Just as a batsman, what do you see? What do you see? I'm seeing a little. He's losing his shape a little bit. It's just trying just to hit the ball way too hard. What are you seeing with Rishabh?
I'm seeing a player slightly confused about the way that he be playing. He's probably in the back of his mind thinking, I'm a Ferrari. I go out there and just get into 6th gear early. That's the way that I've always played cricket from such a young age. He's probably now got many in his ears saying you've got to play more maturely. You've got to manoeuvre the ball into the gap between the wickets hard, choose the right ball, play the long innings. And I just look at and watch him. He just looks like he's slightly confused in the style of play that he is. I'll be honest, I liked him the year or so ago when he used to come out. All right, he played some stupid shots and got out at silly times, but I thought he was more dangerous playing that risky way than he is playing or trying to play this mature game that would potentially getting consistent, but I do think he's got the ability to be consistent playing the risky game because he's got that much talent. I don't want him to overcomplicate the game, and I think at the minute he's just slightly overcomplicating the game.
I think a year ago, you saw him play a lot of expansive shots. And then when he got out to one, you're like, one too many. This year, he's trying the expansive shots, but they're not coming off. So that's the difference, which is why you see these runner ball innings from him. And we've just seen so many of them this season from him. And I'm sure he's disappointed as well, as are all Delhi fans like us. Let's have a look at the points table now. How's it looking? How's it looking for Shreyas Iyer and his lads? Well, it's not looking good with the net run rate. What has happened with this is, Joy, that Bangalore, without doing anything today, they didn't do anything. Everybody was tied on points, but suddenly they're just in second position over Delhi.
Virat Kohli would have been cheering every move by David Warner today. Every 4, every 6, everything. Because what this has done is basically it's really made a huge dent. Because Delhi's run rate was pretty decent to go with it. And these last two matches have put a huge dent on it.
They've lost almost half a decimal point?
Yeah. They've lost almost
half a decimal point.
0.78 to 0.8 over the last two matches. Because remember, the Calcutta loss was a big one as well.
Jeez, yes.
Two big losses. And that's really going to hurt them.
Well, again, Michael, when it comes to, you may look at it and you say, okay, Delhi, these three teams may still qualify. But right now, there is the danger that one of these three actually might not qualify. Then there's the danger that you're not going to finish in the top two, and you really want to finish in the top two because there's such an incentive there. So really, there's a lot more than just simple soul searching that Delhi has to do for the next two games.
Yeah, I guess a week or so ago, we felt like 7 wins would get you into the playoffs. It looks like it may not. It might be that you need 8 wins. So Delhi will have to win one of the last 2 games for particularly net run rate that's just taken such a pounding in the last 2 games. It's more, once you reach the playoffs, you've got to have players playing confidently, and your team has to be playing well, particularly if you're in that 3rd and 4th playoff spot. You've got to win 3 games on the trot to win the tournament. And you need players in fine form doing that. You can kind of have a late run. You look at Kings 11. If they suddenly sneak into the playoffs with the way that they've been playing, they could be a real kind of dark horse for this tournament because they've played so well at the back end. Whereas you won't want to just kind of creep in, having not played so well in the last few games, because you will have players that aren't confident enough to take on the challenge when the pressure's really on. It's all to play from. I think, again, about a week or so ago, we felt like it was probably all going to be done and dusted with 2 or 3 games to go. Pretty much everyone's still got a sniff apart from Chennai. Got a sniff, most of them, that they could win the last 2 or 3 games and sneak into those playoffs. If you do that, you're full of confidence. You've got a chance of winning the tournament.
Well, you make a very good point. If Delhi goes against Mumbai and against Bangalore and loses those 2 games, forget about qualifying in whatever position. You don't lose 5 in a row in the league stage and then go on to win the tournament. Nobody thinks of you as a threat then, right, Joy?
It's very tough. It's very tough because momentum is totally against you. Your players are off form. And this is the problem. It's also that realize that Delhi has not actually made that many changes. They've stuck by their team. Other than Shaw and Rahane, they once Rishabh Pant came back and Hetmyer came back, they've just stuck with that same combination. And I'm beginning to wonder whether, like at least Harshal Patel, I would definitely look at over Tushar Deshpande. That's something to look at maybe as a choice. But otherwise, they don't have too many choices. The way their team is structured is the best possible structure they can have. And if they're going to get hammered with this, it's not that they've experimented and said, you know what, we took our foot off the pedal because we tinkered with the 11. Let's put our best team back again.
Yeah,
this is their best team. This is what they have.
Yeah, remember they lost Amit Mishra and Ishant Sharma, 2 of their gun bowlers, to injury. But let's talk about the Hyderabad team now, because while Delhi didn't put 1 foot right today, Hyderabad didn't put 1 foot wrong today. 219 is what they scored, and then their bowlers, Michael, today acted like they had only 120 to defend. Rashid, what did Rashid think? Did Rashid think this was a 120 game? Who does that? 4 overs, 7 runs, 3 wickets. That is ridiculous.
It's high class. Look at those dots, 17 dots inside 4 overs. I mean, you got the perfect start. My first delivery gets the wicket. You can't allow Rashid Khan that kind of start. And then he gets another wicket in his first. So he's 2 wickets inside his first 6 deliveries. He has it on a string. He bowls that awkward length, whereas a batsman, it's not in that slot. It's just in between. It's just nipping either in or away from you. He's very, very clever as well. I think he reads the batsman's mind when they're kind of lining him up. He kind of bowls against the way that they want to be hitting with the spin. And you can just tell he's got that joy and energy of playing the game because he knows he's better than most. He's kind of got the ball in his hand and he's kind of looking down 22 yards at whoever he's bowling to. And I'm pretty much sure 90% of the time he's thinking, well, I'm better than you. It doesn't matter who you are, I'm better than you. In particular, when my team have just put 219 runs on the board, he could run up. He could have run up to bowl today with flip flops on, and he'd have done it.
Correct, and that's also not just because it was 220 that they had to defend, but also because he's bowling against Delhi, and he just loves bowling against Delhi. What was it? First leg, Joy, was it 13? Yeah.
13 for 3, yeah, absolutely.
So which means 8 overs, 20 for 6 against Delhi this tournament.
21 for 6 is absolutely incredible.
That's ridiculous.
And you can actually make a good claim for saying this is probably the best IPL figures in history because, see, there are guys who have bowled, taken, I think it's Chahal and Nehrab.
1 for 6?
1 for 6. 1 for 6 and 3 for 7, what would you take? I'd take 3 for 7 any day. I think it's amazing.
Two wickets for a run, yeah, that's an easy trade. That's a very easy trade. But, you know, something in a year like 2020, in a year where everything is upside down, I like that 2 things were predictable today. David Warner getting runs on his birthday and Rashid Khan doing well against Delhi. So, you know, just maybe this is the world coming back to a slight hint of normalcy. Yeah.
Of course, the part of normalcy that's not there is that Delhi, this SRH team is looking like a hospital ward. I mean, Mitch Marsh down, Bhuvaneshwar Kumar down, Riddhiman Saha down, Vijay Shankar down, and they've had Kane Williamson also down. 5 injuries to 5 of their top players, one after the other. They're still 5 and 7. Give them some credit.
I have a question for both of you. We saw Shrivats Goswami. Now that's a tongue twister. We saw Shrivats Goswami behind the wicket. He was a substitute, so he came in. If you can get a substitute keeper, then why not just get Johnny Bairstow?
5 foreigners.
But just who could you just take Kane Williamson off?
Then you do 2 subs and it'll be. I think it's a bit complicated. Wicket keeping sub till a long time back wasn't allowed. I think only I think recently it's been allowed that they can go to the umpire, right?
Yeah. The MCC laws changed. Michael is like, don't make me comment on the law. Don't make me do that. But I will comment on the law. The law has changed on MCC. But anyway, that was just being flippant and just talking about how 2020 has been this kind of year. Today, for the first time on Cricbuzz Live, we have shared. You got it shared. Badge of honor has been shared by. I think it should be shared by all 3 of us because I forced you guys towards the 50s. But it's fine. Nobody wants to shake hands with me. They're not even show my face right now, right? Go for it. Just show the winners. Don't show me anymore. Just show the winners. Joy and Michael, they're so happy. Go on with your victory speeches.
Yeah.
Go on, don't be shy.
Nah, no speech. I was just disappointed that I didn't get it spot on. I thought I was going to get it. I said 50 for 3.
Yeah.
Ball and then obviously the boundary. I just thought, if we could just lose the wicket, that'd have been lovely. Lovely jabbly.
They got a wicket just after that, right? They reached 54 and they lost the wicket. They lost it immediately after. And I was thinking that, man, this guy's on spot on with this one.
You having another cup of tea, by the way?
Yes, I do. This is my cup from Paramount Pictures, Paramount Studios when I went in LA. It's really nice, and it is a nighttime tea just to power me down a little bit. Yeah, but of course we are talking about a boost stamina meter. You can't power these guys down, because they go full tilt. And let's see who we have today, who has topped the charts. It's David Warner, birthday boy, 66 of 34. His batting rating today, 93.4. He stayed at the pitch for half the innings and 19 singles, 8 twos, 1 3. Joy, he was going at it today, but he's a. Do you remember He-Man, the cartoon?
Yeah, Masters of the Universe. Yeah,
I think David Warner's like the battering ram. Do you know there was a battering ram? There was a man at arms over there, right? and there was a battering ram, the little guy with the springy feet. That's him. He's just always going at you. He just keeps going. He came running in from long on or long off to review that decision with Rishabh Pant. So even when he's not meant to be expending energy, he's still expending that energy.
Yeah.
He was on fire today. He couldn't get anything wrong today. Yeah.
Yeah, and not only that, exactly what I was thinking. That keeper didn't call, mid-off didn't call, mid-on didn't call. This man sees it from long off and he gets it right. And that's the most crazy part of it. He just turns on and says, I'm going for this.
Was it though? I don't know. Was it? I just thought the bat hit the ground.
Look, the point is, Rifle, I think, saw it 3 or 4 times, and he felt that after it hit the ground after. It edged before and hit the ground after. But anyway, it's one of those things.
Michael?
Well, I always believe that once the decision's been given out in the middle, and on this occasion it was not out, you've got to have a new evidence. I'm not convinced there was enough evidence. I have to be completely honest. There may have been a little further, but I think once you've given it not out, the kind of team to be 100% sure, and you have to be 100% sure as an umpire that there was an outside edge. I'm not convinced from the replays that I saw that I would be 100% sure that there was an outside edge on that Rishabh Pant shot. It's kind of summing up Rishabh Pant's batting at the minute. I mean, he can't really strike it out the middle. He's batting at a runner ball, and then he gets out to one that really pitched at cover point.
Yeah. True. I was way out. But Michael's got a point. Conclusive proof to overturn the decision. Burden of proof lies, with the replays showing you that the umpire on field got it wrong. Don't think there was enough of that, but not that it would have really changed much for Delhi. Let's see what our ultimate team of the day is made up of. Let's have a look at our My 11 circle. How many of these players did you have? Perhaps did not have Riddhiman Saha in your team. If you would have had him and had him as captain, he would have given you a lot of points, of course, getting 80 plus today. And Warner, his opening partner, would have been your vice captain. So this was your My 11 circle ultimate team of the day. Let's move straight to our champion of the day. How many points? Who's the person? Pintu Kumar from Patna. Well done. You are a champion of the day with 361 points. Well done, Pintu. Joy, nobody would have got Saha as their captain today, even though I said it last night. I said it on the show last night on Cricbuzz Live.
You're the man. You're calling everything right. I think this is the time you just go there, go to Dubai, go to the Emirates, go there and offer your services to the highest bidder. Tell them that you're just doing it all.
What services are you talking about? Do not answer that question. And where will I open this kiosk? This kiosk which is open for everyone. There's a bio bubble, but I'm just sitting outside the hotel holding up big banners for everyone through their windows. Pick this guy. All right, let's have a look at the game that's happening tomorrow, because it is a biggie. It's a big one. It's Mumbai playing Bangalore tomorrow in Abu Dhabi. It's Virat Kohli versus question mark Rohit Sharma. Is there going to be some Rohit Sharma? Saw on social media last night that he did go to the nets yesterday. Joy, I want to see him back. It's not just for Mumbai. I just want to see him back because I'm just such a fan.
Absolutely. And, last 2 years back, we had this thing that please let Rohit open. So at least now they allow him to open, except in the advertising, they still allow him to open the batting nowadays. The only problem is that his fitness, it really bothers me that somewhere between MI and the Indian selectors, he can't be batting in the nets and not be fit for all 3 formats. I thought that, the way they conveyed that was rather ambiguous. I would have loved to see a press conference where they took a few questions and said that, Rohit's a part of it, it's not. They've left everybody in a lot of doubt. They've given the other teams a lot of hope because, Rohit not playing is a huge problem for Mumbai. But I thought a lot of confusion about that. Frankly, everyone's confused right now.
Michael, I think Mr. Gavaskar said it well yesterday that you need a little more transparency when it comes to a marquee champion player like Rohit Sharma.
Absolutely. I've been bewildered with the statements. And once you release a squad and Rohit Sharma's not in it, you've got to make sure you've got all the answers to tell us why, because he is a superstar. Not having him in a squad touring to Australia is remarkable when you think that he was hitting balls in the nets yesterday. I think the cricketing public needs to know the real story behind Rohit Sharma of why. Has he got such a bad injury that could be a long term, and he could just sneak through the IPL and play on 50%? These kind of answers, questions need to be answered from the selectors, because we all love watching Rohit Sharma. Not just the Indian fans, the cricketing public around the world just love the way that he plays. And when you see that he's left out of such a big tour, there must be an issue, and it must be a serious issue for him to have done so.
Yeah, well, hopefully we shall find out soon enough. Or maybe he turns up for Mumbai tomorrow, and then the Indian selectors say that he's going to join the tour as well. Yeah, Joy.
Yeah, that's exactly that. They've left this sort of tantalizing window of opportunity, saying that he could be picked later because we're going to pick him later, but you're not sure. We'll assess his fitness later, and then we'll do it. So it's just, it's way too ambiguous. And if you have to do it, then you say that, okay, don't pick it for all 3 tours, pick it for 1 tour, say that he's not available definitely for the ODIs or the T20s, whatever is being played first, and say that he may be fit after that. I think you cannot do this, say that he's not there at part of any of the teams, and then suddenly say, no, if he proves himself fit, he's going to be a part of it. Normally, it's the other way around, that you pick a guy, and if he can't prove his fitness, you make a replacement. This is the first time I've seen the rule being played the other way around.
Exactly. Particularly with superstars and high-level performers, you just pick them. You pick them in your squad, and if in 3 or 4 weeks' time there's an issue, then you pull him out. But you just put him in the squad. All teams around the world that have these kind of star quality players, that's exactly right, Joe. You always go down the model of picking them first, and if in a few weeks' time you have to pull them out, well, you do so. You don't do it the reverse, which is exactly what the Indian selectors have done.
Yeah, it is. It's a little strange, and me no likey. Me no likey, I tell you that. Mumbai also went me no likey when they couldn't defend 195 the other day, but still, perhaps not going to make any changes. Perhaps not. They do not like making any changes. Change is not a constant when it comes to Mumbai.
And to be honest with you, there's not much to change. I mean, I saw the Mumbai last time they were hit by the Stokes bus, and it happens every once in a while. Couple of exceptional players will hit an innings. I mean, Michael will tell you that was an exceptional inning. So Mumbai can at least take much more out of their loss and say that, one of these days happens. Somebody's going to just whack you.
Yeah.
But, they played well, as opposed to Delhi today. Very different ways in which they lost,
Any changes you see, Michael, perhaps for Mumbai tomorrow, or they won't?
No, because they generally don't. I mean, we speak about them so often that they're just Mr. Consistent. They get an 11 and they stick with it. They give the players the belief that they're going to be playing their roles. They now and again change the batting lineup, but not too much. Kieran Pollard will be very similar to Rohit Sharma, the captain of the Mumbai team. They'll just go with the same 11, I would think. Abu Dhabi will not mind playing there because they know that you can win either way. Rajasthan chased down, so it doesn't really make much of a difference which way you go about your business. It's about arriving and playing a good brand of cricket. Looking forward to it. I always think this is the big contest in the IPL.
Yeah.
When Bangalore play against the Mumbai Indians, I prefer Virat against Rohit. Not going to get the full kind of cake, if you like, but I do see this as the big play. It's the one kind of game that I get very excited about because I feel it's the real 2 powerhouses locking horns.
You never know. Maybe your wish will come true tomorrow. You never know. You never know what emerges from this cloud of ambiguity. Okay, let's have a look at the Bangalore squad. And there was a lot of clouds of ambiguity over their 11 in the first half of the tournament. Not anymore, Joy. Not anymore.
Yeah, I mean, they've just made that one switch, which is Udana for Moeen Ali. And I think it's sensible. If the pitches are slowing down, they already had a couple of fast bowlers out there. They want to play the extra spinner. I can quite understand that. This Bangalore team is as balanced a team as you'll find. And I think they've found their sweet spot out there. They're going to try and stick to it. It's going to be difficult to beat Bombay because Bombay is also more used to Abu Dhabi as a surface. They've played a lot more matches there. Only Kolkata and Bombay have played consistently in Abu Dhabi. So they know that ground well.
Yeah.
And I'd really like to see look, remember the guy who wins this is the first team to reach 8 wins. That's still not fully secure, but that's a statement. I think 8 99.9 times out of 100 will get you through. So, yeah.
Yeah, it should. And in fact, this year may just even be enough to guarantee 1 or 2. But I keep telling you, I've been saying this on the show, just when you think it's done and dusted, something will happen. Somebody will come and tumble that apple cart and will teach you not to presume. Because what do they say? To assume is to make an ass of you and me. So you cannot assume anything till the last game is played. Though one thing, Michael, if you look at the Bangalore squad. We were talking about bio bubbles earlier, and you look at this Bangalore squad. They've obviously become really tight because Virat's taking all his bowlers to Australia. Look at that. They're all going.
Yeah, I've been really impressed with Washington Sundar. I think he's having a great IPL. He bowls a lot in the power play, skillful, very clever. Bowls well to right and left-handers. I think Chris Morris has been a good addition once he came back from his injury. He offers them that little bit of pace. Chahal is magnificent. And as Joy said, you're down to the left arm. They've got pretty much the balanced attack. At the beginning of the tournament, I was looking at their attack going, no, typical Bangalore, so top heavy with the bat. I don't think they've quite got the bowling to win it. Well, in the last few games, I think they've found some really good combinations with the ball in hand. And when you've got De Villiers, Virat Kohli, Aaron Finch and co, anything's possible but with the bat. And you just can't rule them out now. I mean, from a position of the first few games watching, thinking, it's similar kind of stories to the last few years, they have a realistic chance this year. This is the chance that I guess many of those Bangalore fans have been wanting for the last 5 or 6 years, where they've arrived at the start of the tournament with a great deal of hope, and within a few games have gone, here we go again. We had the here we go again after about 4 games this time, but they've found that kind of combination. Virat's found his mojo. AB de Villiers has played some of the best innings of the IPL for me. And then they've got these bowling combinations that could work. So I just think this Rohit Sharma situation for Mumbai, if he's not going to play, I think it's a massive play. I think he carries about 25% of that team just by his persona. And the opposition fear him so much because they know he can produce just that incredible. It's like the Ben Stokes innings the other night. Yeah. If Rohit Sharma arrives from Mumbai, he can beat anyone inside 60 balls if he faces that.
And his captaincy.
Captaincy, everything about him, the way that the team follow him. No Rohit Sharma for Mumbai. I'll state now, I don't think they'll win the IPL.
So it's a really important point that you make about Bangalore. Their best chance, because A, they've been doing really well. B, their 2 challengers till a week ago were Mumbai and Delhi. Delhi, well, they seem to have been derailed with 3 losses on the bounce. And Mumbai have lost their captain, Rohit Sharma. Joy, it just keeps getting sweeter and sweeter for Bangalore. And the only other team that seems to have a little bit of mojo right now is Punjab, which is also full of Bangalore boys. So Bangalore wins.
Yeah, but I think they'd like to win it the right way. They want the to win. But you're absolutely right. This is building up to be the perfect storm. And you're absolutely right. Delhi and Mumbai have given them that sliver of opportunity. So if they have smart Bangalore and they're smart guys, they'll say, we won't get ahead of ourselves. Let's get into the top 2. Let's get into the top 2, give ourselves an extra game in hand, and then let's see what happens.
Who have they got next? See, Bangalore are obviously playing Mumbai tomorrow. They've got 1 game against Delhi, and then they've got a game against Hyderabad. After today, they're going to be like, hang on a second. We may have been looking at this in Sharjah as a couple of easy points. We've got some big hitters, but today Hyderabad has really given a lesson in big hitting, haven't they? They really have. So, I mean, Michael, you're at that stage of the tournament. You can't look at anybody's roster anymore and say they've got any easy games, because the last few days, Chennai has won, Rajasthan has beaten Mumbai, Delhi's gone beaten by, a couple of teams that are below them. So you can't write anyone off. There's no easy games anymore. There's no easy points.
So there's a mini series there between. Sorry, go on.
Go on. I was saying, even the teams that have got to play Chennai, you still playing a side that have kind of got that carefree attitude. T20 cricket is so up and down, as we've seen throughout the whole tournament. It only really takes you want a collective team having the right attitude, but it generally is 2 or 3 players that do something special. And any team, in particular in IPL, that has so many superstars, can produce a performance. We see the Sunrisers tonight come out and put you'd say a 99% perfect performance in. Any of the teams can produce that kind of performance.
Yep. Joy, sorry, you were saying?
No, I was just saying that given these circumstances, Hyderabad may be a very different team at the last match, because what will happen by then is Hyderabad's either won it and they have a chance still of being 7-7, or they've lost their next match and they're out of the tournament. So it'll be very interesting what Hyderabad turns up on that last day. Hyderabad is playing all the top three teams in a row. They played Delhi today. They play Bombay after that, and then they play Bangalore. So it'll be extremely interesting. They could be what we call party poopers. Even if they don't qualify, they could really, really impact the top two.
You know what my expert prediction for the next 1 week is? Yummy, yummy. It's just going to be one juicy potato after the other. You don't want to miss any of those games. And we were just having a chat about the bio bubble, which was pre-game. And Joy, I want to ask you a question. In your years with Kolkata, you know, how many times or how often would you want to get the players as a group out of that setup, because the IPL can get to be a lot of hotel, airport, stadium, right? So how would you break this monotony for them, and how often would you do that?
See, in those days, obviously, it was much easier. What you do is you'd have a team outing, take them out somewhere. You know, if it's Bombay, it's easy. Shah Rukh might throw a party, or we go to a film together. So, you know, sometimes it happened. There's a premiere of a film. Or, you know, you book tickets together, get the guys, just have popcorn and Coke together. It's a cheat day, and they just have fun together. They need to relax sometimes. And, you know, it's right. Every international player will tell you that deathly circuit between hotel, airport, and ground. You know, and just this triangle that keeps going on in their lives. There's so many guys I know, they've traveled so many countries, they have seen nothing except the hotel, the airport, and the ground. And I think that you need to break that once in a while. That has become so much tougher with this bio bubble.
Yeah, Michael, you have been saying that these kind of bio bubbles that are happening right now, have happened in the summer in England, are definitely unsustainable when it comes to the mental health for players. What would you like to suggest as a possible solution or a workaround? What can they ease?
Well, it's really difficult to ease it in the situation that we find ourselves, because you can't suddenly open up the opportunity for players to go and mix with lots of other people, because that's the risk for the environment that's been created. It's just managing people. It's managing the individual people within inside the teams and inside the groups. But we're all very lucky to be involved in cricket, and the players will be the first to admit that being a cricketer is a special job. It's, in my opinion, the best job in the world. But it doesn't mean that they're not human beings. It doesn't mean that mental health won't affect them because they're cricketers. You know, they're in this unprecedented time where they're being locked away in hotels, only seeing the same group, speaking to the same people. You've then got to put into the equation their family life, that they'll have families back home that are probably going through difficulty, like we all are. You know, it's a restrained world that we're in now, that we can't just go and do normal things easily. You know, it's very difficult to do one or two things that in the past it's been so easy to do. Just travel. If you try and travel these days, it's quite a challenge to do so. So the players will be dealing with maybe wives, girlfriends, kids back home in a different manner to what they would have done in the past. It's not easy just to say to your wife or your kids, right, get on the plane and come and join us, like again in the past. But I just think it's one where I hope, and I'm sure, you know, I heard Owen Morgan speak, I think it was last week, about, you know, players, if they opt out of a tour or opt out of a situation, will have to accept it and understand that, you know, it'd be quite brave of a player to stick their hand up and say, look, I'm really struggling with this bum. But if a player does so, I think all managements around the world will have to accept it, because there'll be certain players that can cope with it easily. But there will be certain other players who you may not you might not see as that kind of individual that would struggle. And I think it's just treating every single individual player as an individual person and making sure that we look after the well-being of the people, not just the cricketer.
Yeah, I think just a little more cognizance about the mental health, and yes, an environment of no judgment, because this is something that we've never seen before. Therefore, just not to judge the players if they decide to opt out of it, or if they can't handle it, or if someone can handle it better than them. Well, this is one of those conversations that we perhaps will just keep having, and I just hope that this situation can change really soon. The one thing that will never change is the fact that the joy factor question will just never be easier. It just never will. They will continue to be this little vortex of confusion and trivia and excitement and knowledge and despondency, all rolled into one little ball that we like to call the joy factor. Over to you, Professor.
Thank you. And here goes. instituted to honor a man born in an Indian hill station. Participants include a former South African bishop, a writer and psychoanalyst, Sunil Gavaskar, Imran Khan. Who are we talking about? Who did it in 2011? These are the MCC, the Cowdray lectures given by the MCC. And the man who delivered that lecture in 2011 happens to be a certain Kumar Sangakkara, and it's his birthday today. Okay. So that's the thing. It's Sangha. So the other people who have given this lecture, so it was Cowdray was born in Ooty in India. He was born in Uttakamund, as it was known in those days. It's Udagamangalam now. And Desmond Tutu has actually delivered a lecture. Mike Bradley has delivered a lecture. Richie Beno gave the first lecture. Gavaskar, Imran Khan, all these guys have lectured. And in 2011, Sangakkara became the first cricketer still playing to deliver the Spirit of Cricket lecture.
Nice. I like it. These questions seem so much nicer once you know the answer. They seem much friendlier, much friendlier. Let's see who got it correct. Somebody, of course, was really quick on it was Parth Narodia. Congratulations. You were the first person to send the correct answer in. I don't know how you managed to decode it, but good on you, my friend Parth. Well done. Well, that's all we have time for. That's the end of business hours for us. It's closing time. We'll be seeing you tomorrow at 7 p.m. Indian Standard Time is when we'll be here to talk about the big game tomorrow, Mumbai and Bangalore. I'd like to thank Joy Bhattacharjya and Michael Vaughan for joining me today. Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you. Wish you a good night, Joy, and a good evening to you, Michael.
Thank you very much.
Have a couple for us, if you would.
Champions League football starting in well, it's probably just starting one of the games.
I have. Why do you think I'm wrapping it now?
Come on, off.
This is Gaurav Kapur saying good night on My 11th Circle presents Cricbuzz Live.